Hey there, pretty people, and welcome back to Such Pretty. I am going to talk about bleaching hair, lifting roots, and Olaplex in this video. So I'm going to start out with Olaplex. This I ordered from Amazon. It came with 2 of the number 2s. This I ordered from Amazon and it was about $100. And I really love it. And it has saved the length of my hair a lot. So I had my hair that was a little bit like beyond Olaplex's control. Basically, let me just move this down so you can see the tips of my hair. Okay, so I a few months ago cut off about 4 inches of hair, so I had about 4 more inches, and there were a couple of reasons for that. The first one is that I suffer from trichotillomania, which is an impulse control disorder where I pull my hair out. I've had it since I was about 12. It's something that isn't controllable, and it's something that has been like a real big insecurity for me for a long time. So because of that, I have a lot of underlayers of my hair that are in like a complete mess, that are just like completely different lengths than the rest of my hair. And when my hair was longer, 4 inches longer, I just had like lengths that were just like all over the place, because I would have an area that I would pull a lot from, and then it would grow in, and then I'd have another area and it'd grow in, and so everything's growing at different rates. I was really proud about having really long hair, but my ends were really thin, and they had been damaged from bleach, and I hadn't been using Olaplex. So once I finally got Olaplex, and I decided to bleach some of the lengths of my hair to try and test it and see how it worked. And it was really scary for me to put this in and just trust it not to noodle my hair. And if anybody has had bleached hair or like botched bleached hair, you know that you get noodle hair, which is like when your hair gets wet. You can basically it feels like a wet wet spaghetti noodle, like a overcooked spaghetti noodle, and it feels like you could just like pinch and your hair would fall off. It feels like it could do that, but it wouldn't do that unless your hair was really, really bad. But I used 30 volume developer, and what Olaplex does, it says that you need to bump up your developer by 1 when you use it, and you really only use like a really tiny amount, and it tells you only use 1/8 of an ounce for bleach, and it's just this tiny little bit here, so you'll get a ton of uses out of this. This, however, I run through a lot faster. So I put on the lengths of my hair, and it bleached them pretty much to colorless. Once I had toned the yellow out, I pretty much had white hair, and it is hair that would have been noodle hair that should have just been breaking off and in clumps, and it's still healthy and in here. So all of this hair has been treated with Olaplex. Just Olaplex treatments, which is where you add this with water, and there are tons of YouTube videos on it, on just the regular treatment. I'm not a professional, and you get, when you order this, a packet that tells you everything that you need to know. So I can answer all your questions here about it, but if you're interested in getting it, and you have any specific questions, go ahead and ask me, and I'll look it up in the little pamphlet thing that I got with it. I think I still have it, but basically you up your developer whenever you use this, and it takes longer. So the reason that I'm not going to be using this when I am developing my roots is for 2 reasons. Firstly, I talked about in my last video that I get the strongest on the scalp lightener that I can get. If I were using foils, or if I would teach my boyfriend to do foils, or if I had the patience or time or money to have someone else do foils for me, I wouldn't have to have the lightener touch my scalp. But since I am impatient and I want it done now, I have to do it myself, and the lightener will touch my scalp, which means the Olaplex will touch my scalp, and that stuff burns. It itches. It burns so much. So the only time that I use it is for when I'm bleaching, is when I'm bleaching away from the scalp, or if I am just doing like a treatment. You can just mix 1/8 of an ounce of this with water and put it through your hair, and I just use a spray bottle, and I wear a mask, or I breathe through a shirt or something, because it can get pretty Ugh. But I use a spray bottle and I make it, I make my hair entirely wet, and then I let it sit for 10 minutes, and then I rinse it out, and then I put the number 2 in, and then my hair always feels a lot stronger afterwards. So I can definitely attest that Olaplex saved hair that would have been noodle hair. Like, all of this length would have been noodle hair if I hadn't had Olaplex. Like, I know I've bleached my hair enough in the last like 15 years of my life to know like the lengths at which my hair will fall out and will break, and I absolutely definitely would have had breakage, and I did not. But I did end up, like I say, cutting off those 4 inches because there were ends that were so split and awful that they were just beyond repair. And then I had so many different lengths of hair, which I'm gonna kind of go over that today, right now, and show you. But Sasha and I, we plan to do a video, Sasha and I, on body focused repetitive disorders and impulse control disorders and stuff like that. So but my hair is kind of in a lot of different stages of growth. This area right here was a high pull area for me, so this hair grows very sparsely and very slowly here. So you can see I just like this whole section of my head is just not very much hair going on there. But I also shaved this part of my head because it was a very high pull area, and shaving it helped me from just pulling all of that area out. But I'm growing it back, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm doing with my hair. But so again, this is the lightener I use, and I don't know if it's on the scalp or not, and I don't have the time to read it, and I don't want to read it, and it shouldn't be going on your scalp anyway. But since I am doing it myself and I'm not going to teach my boyfriend to foil, this is pretty much what I have to do. So for my whole head, for the roots, about 1.5 scoops of bleach will do, and then I use this Salon Care Professional 30 volume extra lift. I would use 40 volume if I had it, but I don't. And another reason that I'm not using Olaplex is because when I do my roots with Olaplex, when I have put Olaplex in with my lightener and my bleach, when I have done that in the past, firstly, I can barely stand how much it itches, and secondly, it takes so much longer, so it itches for so much longer, and then thirdly, I feel like it doesn't, like, I don't know if this makes any sense, but it doesn't damage my hair enough to let the color soak in. So if that makes any sense, like, it'll bleach out, but then I can't get any color to hold to that bleached part. Like, I just can't when I use Olaplex. Like, I do not understand why. It's just, I just can't. I can't get any color to hold on to anything, any virgin hair that was bleached with Olaplex. I cannot get a colored dye to soak into that. So I am just going to mix my bleach here. It's a 1-to-1 ratio that I use, so, and I just eyeball it. I really never measure anything like perfectly. And when I'm using bleach, I am usually really bad about using gloves, but I have gloves now, so hooray for me. So I'm just gonna mix this up, and then I always do the front portions of my hair, and then I have my boyfriend do the back portions. Another way that I save like my hair is that I don't bleach the areas that you can't see from the front, but twice a year. So like, I have this much root here, but in the back here I have like inches of roots because I only bleach that twice a year. So that also helps with, because every time you bleach, you know, you're gonna get a little bit on your ends, and I don't use Olaplex when I'm bleaching my virgin roots because of the itchiness and because it doesn't damage my hair enough to allow anything to soak through. Okay, so now I'm just gonna mix this together. I just eyeballed it, and you have to be really careful with bleach powder because absolutely just like mushroom cloud up into your face if you're not careful. So you have to be really careful when you're mixing this stuff. And I typically like it to be a little bit on the thicker side. So I start with like a 1-to-1 ratio, and then I keep mixing in more powder until it is as thick as I want. On the palette for the Olaplex, it says that you can mix it into pretty much any treatment, whether you're doing like a glaze, a hair glaze, or hair color or whatever. You can pretty much mix it into anything. But you just have to be wary that it ups your processing time. And then if you are using a developer of any kind, you need to bump up your developer by 10. So it's pretty nifty. I haven't been coloring this shade or bleaching the shave area because I wanted it to get long enough where I could part it so that I could get at the roots instead of having to bleach over the whole thing again. So I am bleaching this for the first time. So I'm just going to bleach this whole front area, and then my boyfriend will do the back, and then we will be done. Okay, as you can see, it is already lightening over here, but I'm going to mix up a little bit more, and I'm going to have my boyfriend do the rest, and I will be back with you once my roots are all done, and it is time to apply the new color. The green, the colors I'll be using are Manic Panic Electric Lizard, probably a little bit of Manic Panic Electric Banana that I've had left over for quite some time. And then I will be using some Ion Sky Blue that I have in a stockpile. So stay tuned for that. Okay, and my roots are lifted. As you can see, it's a little bit more yellow than the rest of the hair here, which doesn't really bother me because I'm dyeing it green and blue anyway. It's just going to kind of work with what I'm doing. If I were coloring it in another color family, I probably would tone it and give it another like a light bleach bath or something. A good example of somewhere where I will be using Olaplex is my natural area really didn't take much to the color because I did not use any heat at all. I left it on my hair for 40 minutes with no heat and no cap. And that was with a 30 volume developer, and I wish that I could have had 40, because if I had 40 then this would have been lifted to the correct color. But it doesn't really bother me because of the color family that I'm going to be dyeing in. But in a couple days I'll go ahead and use Olaplex with this to lighten it further, because as you can see, as you get closer to the root area, it took better there because there's more heat towards my scalp. So in a few days I'll just go over that with some more bleach and Olaplex, and I will lift that and I will color it like the rest of my hair. But that is it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, or if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. I'll have all the information down below. Again, I'm not a professional, so this is just what I do for my hair, and if you want to learn how I stripped my green dye to this blonde, that is in my previous video, and I will link it in Inslate. And then I have one more video coming up for you guys, which is where I show you how I paint my ombre hair by myself. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. I could like